Good evening, students. This is your introductory lecture to Hindu Marriage Act. Now, starting with the foundation of all the laws in our country, that is Constitution of India. How Constitution is linked to your Hindu Marriage Act. Talking about Constitution, Article 21 provides right to life, which includes your right to marriage, right to marry a person of your own choice. If you are a person of marriageable age, you may marry anyone of your own choice. You have a right to choose a partner as per Article 21 of the Constitution. This right to marriage is inherent in right to life, fundamental right of our Constitution of India. The judgment of Lata Singh versus State of UP, 2006 Supreme Court, clearly said that India is a free and democratic country where a person has the right to choose his or her life partner because they have right to marriage, right to life under Article 21 of the Constitution. Then whether this right to marriage is absolute right, when this question comes to your mind, your natural answer would be yes, since right to life is inherent, since right to life is the most important aspect of our Indian Constitution, our right to marriage is also absolute. But to your surprise, answer is no. Right to marriage is important, it is quintessential, it is part of your right to life, basic right as a human being, but this right to marriage is not absolute one. This was held in the case of X versus Hospital Y, where the details of the patient X was disclosed by Hospital Z regarding his HIV status. His marriage was broken. He challenged this in the court of law and pleaded that right to marriage is my fundamental right. How can a hospital disclose my details and hamper my right to marry someone? Supreme Court clearly in this case held that this right to marriage is not absolute. Right to marriage does not give you a license to spoil someone else's life by spreading the disease. Even if you have got married, you would have been punished under Section 269(70) for spreading dangerous disease intentionally. So your right to marriage is not absolute one. So this was your right to marriage as part of Article 21 of the Constitution, the very foundation of all the laws in our country, that is Grundnorm, our Constitution. Now talking about marriage. What is marriage? Marriage is a sacred institution. It is a serene concept given by our scriptures, Vedas, where two people unite and live a happy life. Marriage is the foundation of society. This is such an institution in our society without which there will be no stability of life. That is why marriage as a concept is very important given in our Indian laws, and the most important one being Hindu Marriage Act. Since marriage is considered to be solemn, sacred under Hindu law, it is considered as union of souls. It is not considered as contract, just like your Muslim law. Now talking about the applicability of Hindu law, applicability of this marriage act in our country. This Hindu Marriage Act is applicable to whole of India. Earlier we used to say whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir. But now, after the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 with effect from 31st October 2019, Hindu Marriage Act is applicable to whole of India. Section 1 of Hindu Marriage Act clearly makes it applicable to every person who is residing in India. Now another question is whether it is applicable to someone who is not residing in India. Whether it is applicable to someone who is not residing in India but domiciled in India. Whether domicile is important for applicability of this act. Answer is yes. This act is also applicable to people who are not residing here but domiciled in India. Now, anyone who is having domicile of India might perform their marriage according to the ceremonies required by their personal law as per section 7 and make themselves liable or under obligation of this Hindu Marriage Act. Now talking about the second aspect of applicability. As the name suggests, Hindu Marriage Act. So second aspect is regarding who are Hindus. Because this act will only be applicable to people who are Hindus. So the question is, who are Hindus? Section 2 of Hindu Marriage Act comprehensively talks about categories of people who are Hindus or who are called Hindus under our Hindu Marriage Act. This is an inclusive definition which talks about Hindus including Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, all the other sects of Hinduism like Virashaiva, Lingayat, Brahmo Samaj, Arya Samaj, Prarthana Samaj. All these people are included in the definition of Hindus as per section 2. These are those people who are called Hindus. Hindus by law, by fiction of law, they are called Hindus. As per personal law, they might have different ceremonies, but they are called Hindus under the Hindu Marriage Act. First of all, talking about the offshoots of religion of Hindu, the Hinduism basically, religion of Hindus. Virashaiva, Lingayat. These are the people who are followers of Lord Shiva under the Hindu law. Talking in brief about these people, Lingayat people, they are prominent in North India, but they are known, they have been given the minority status in states like Karnataka. They are staunch followers of Lord Shiva. Then talking about the sects, like religious sects of Hinduism, like Brahmo Samaj, Arya Samaj, Prarthana Samaj. Talking about their historical relevance. Brahmo Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and this sect succeeded in eradicating various evils of the society, of the caste, including your sati system, caste system. Then Arya Samaj and Brahmo Samaj was founded by Dayanand Saraswati. These religious sects also played an important part in various social movements, and they were inspired by Brahmo Samaj. Then talking about Sikhs, they are known as Hindus by the fiction of law. They have been given this status of Hindus as per law. Their ceremonies are different. Their ceremony is known as Anand Karaj, due to which their Anand Marriage Act 1909 was amended and made an act in 2012 where Sikhs can separately get their Anand marriages registered. For them, there is no need to go for registration of marriages like the marriages of other Hindus. Hence, we have Anand Marriage Act 2012, which separately talks about registration of Anand marriages amongst Sikhs. But for all other purposes, they are known as Hindus as per your Hindu laws. Now talking about Jains and Buddhists, they are also considered as Hindus. They have been given the status of Hindus as per law, but they might be following different principles. They might be having different ideologies based upon what Gautam Buddha said. So, irrespective of their cult, irrespective of their practices followed, the people belonging to The sects of Buddhism and Jainism are called Hindus under Hindu Marriage Act as per section 2. Now few people have been particularly excluded from applicability of Hindu Marriage Act. Who are these people? Number 1, Muslims. Their Shariat law will be applicable. They have their separate personal law. Number 2, Christians. We have Christian Marriage Act. Then we have Parsis. We have Parsi Marriage Act. Then we have particularly excluded scheduled tribes from the applicability of Hindu Marriage Act. All these people who are declared scheduled tribes, member of scheduled tribes as per Constitution of India, will follow their own customs regarding marriage, divorce, etc. Their customary laws and practices are protected by Article 244, Article 371A, 5th schedule, 6th schedule of the Constitution. These are the people who belong to the scheduled areas. These are the people of indigenous communities declared as scheduled tribes under Schedule 6 of the Constitution. Hence, they have every right to refer to their customs and practices regarding marriage and divorce rather than Hindu Marriage Act. Thus, they have been excluded from the applicability of this act. Now, section 2 also talks about or specifically mentions about deemed Hindus. There is a heading called deemed Hindus. All these people which I am saying that they have got the status of being called Hindu as per law, they have been inducted into the category of Hindus. They are deemed Hindus under the Hindu Marriage Act. So anyone who will be deemed to be called Hindu or will be deemed Hindu or will be accorded a status of Hindu, even if they are not Hindu by religion, will be called Hindu for the purposes of Hindu Marriage Act. Now the third aspect of applicability of Hindu Marriage Act is this act will be applicable to anyone who is Hindu where both the spouses are Hindu or one of the spouses who is brought up or have been practicing or following Hindu religion will fall into the category of Hindus on which Hindu Marriage Act shall apply. यानी कि ज़रूरी नहीं है कि दोनों स्पाउसेस हिंदू होने चाहिए, एक स्पाउस भी हिंदू हो सकता है, तब भी आपके ऊपर हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट अप्लाई होगा। वो जो एक स्पाउस है वो हिंदू रिलीजन के प्रैक्टिसेस फॉलो करता होना चाहिए, बिलीव करता होना चाहिए इनटू द टेनेट्स एंड यूसेजेस ऑफ हिंदू रिलीजन, तब उसके ऊपर हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट जो है एप्लीकेबल होगा। देन ही माइट बी अ convert or reconvert into Hindu religion. उसने अपने आप को कन्वर्ट कर लिया हो सकता है इनटू हिंदू रिलीजन, या वो दोबारा से रिकन्वर्ट हो गया है इनटू हिंदू रिलीजन. एंड कन्वर्ट होने के बाद अगेन ही इज़ फॉलोइंग द प्रैक्टिसेस, ही इज़ फॉलोइंग द हिंदू रिलीजन वेरी रिलीजियसली. He believes in the ideology of Hindu religion, then he will be called Hindu, and this Hindu Marriage Act will be applicable on that person. ये सारी बातें जो मैंने बताई हैं ये लिखी हैं आपके सेक्शन 2 ऑफ हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट. So that's all for today. This was just a brief introductory lecture to your Hindu Marriage Act. I hope we shall continue soon with the other provisions regarding your Hindu Marriage Act. Thank you so much.